You've tried big changes, overnight transformations course, but they never last. You've bought the courses, made the vision boards, told yourself that this time would be different. And for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, it feels like momentum is finally on your side. But then, almost like quicksand, life pulls you back into old patterns. And somewhere deep inside, you wonder, what's wrong with me? Why can't I stay consistent? The truth is, nothing is wrong with you. You've simply been taught to see consistency through the wrong lens. You've been told it's about discipline, grit, and pushing yourself harder. But real consistency isn't built through force. It isn't about white-knuckling your way through massive change. Real consistency is about frequency, the gentle rhythm that your body, your mind, and even the quantum field can trust. Think about water. One drop doesn't shape a stone, but a steady drip, repeated over time, carves valleys, reshapes landscapes, and alters entire ecosystems. Your habits work the same way. They are ripples moving through the unseen field of reality, compounding in ways you can't yet measure. The power is not in how big the action looks today. The power is in the invisible echo it leaves behind. This journey is not about chasing perfection. It's about understanding that the smallest act, repeated, becomes a vibration the universe can recognize. A single mindful breath each morning, a glass of water, the choice to speak one word of kindness. These are not insignificant gestures. They are frequency codes, messages broadcast into the field saying, "This is who I am becoming, and here is the promise." By the end of this experience together, you will see that tiny habits are not small at all. They are the foundation of reality shifts. You'll learn how each action you repeat is not just training your body, but tuning your energetic signal. You'll discover why forcing change collapses under pressure, while gentle rhythm builds momentum, the universe multiplies. So take a breath. Release the judgment of every failed attempt in your past. You are not inconsistent. You are simply recalibrating to a new frequency. And today, we begin to ripple. We've been sold a myth about consistency. It sounds convincing, almost noble. That consistency means discipline, self-control, pushing harder, holding yourself accountable until you finally make it. This myth is everywhere. In self-help books, productivity gurus, even in the way society praises those who never miss a workout, never skip a day, never show weakness. The message is clear. If you fail to keep up, it's because you weren't strong enough. But let me tell you the truth. Consistency is not about force. It's about rhythm. Your nervous system does not trust big, dramatic change. When you suddenly overhaul your entire life in one bold gesture, the new diet, the new morning routine, the brand new identity you're trying to wear overnight, a part of you might feel inspired at first. But beneath the surface, your body whispers, "This isn't safe." And so, slowly, silently, it resists. It pulls you back toward what's familiar, not because you're broken, but because you are wired for survival. The myth of consistency blames you for inconsistency. It tells you that you're lazy, undisciplined, unworthy of success. But the deeper truth is this: your body is always protecting you. The problem is not your willpower. The problem is that you've been measuring consistency as performance instead of energy. Imagine a musician. If they slam their instrument with force, they create noise, not music. But if they return again and again to the same simple scale, with softness and presence, they build harmony. Each note may seem small, even repetitive, but over time it forms the foundation for beautiful songs. Consistency works the same way. It's not a test of how hard you can push. It's an invitation to return, gently, until your nervous system recognizes safety in the rhythm. Here is the paradox. When you stop trying to control consistency, you finally become consistent. When you release the pressure of never miss a day and instead anchor into frequency, small, repeatable ripples, your body begins to relax. And when your body relaxes, your energy stabilizes. That stable frequency is what the quantum field responds to. Think of your habits like signals. Each one is a tuning fork, vibrating into the invisible field around you. You don't need to strike the fork with overwhelming force. You only need to strike it steadily, softly, in rhythm. Over time, that vibration becomes your identity, and identity is where reality shifts. This is why so many people fail with New Year's resolutions or sudden 30-day challenges. They try to build a new life on the shaky ground of performance pressure. But the body can't sustain pressure forever. What it can sustain is rhythm. What it can trust is the safety of small, repeated ripples. So let's shatter the myth together. You are not inconsistent because you lack discipline. You are inconsistent because the strategies you've been given are rooted in force, not frequency. The secret is not to try harder. The secret is to create an environment, a rhythm, a frequency that your whole system, mind, body, and energy can harmonize with. And once you do, you'll see that consistency is not a punishment, but a freedom. It's the steady hum beneath your life, the quiet drumbeat that keeps you aligned, the frequency the universe learns to recognize as you. Every action you take sends out a ripple. Most of the time, you don't notice it. The ripple is subtle, invisible, almost silent. But in the quantum world, nothing goes unnoticed. Every vibration, every frequency, every tiny shift in attention and behavior sends signals into the field of possibility, shaping what collapses into your lived reality. This is the hidden power of small habits. They look insignificant, even forgettable, but at the quantum level, repetition builds resonance. Imagine tossing a pebble into a still pond. The splash is small, but the ripples travel far, reaching edges you cannot see. Now imagine tossing pebble after pebble into the same place. The ripples begin to overlap, creating waves that are stronger, wider, more coherent. This is how your tiny habits build momentum in the quantum field. You may believe change requires massive action, but the universe doesn't measure by size. It measures by frequency. A small act repeated with steady rhythm carries more energetic weight than a grand gesture done once in desperation. One conscious breath each morning shapes your nervous system. One choice to pause before reacting rewires your subconscious. One tiny act of alignment signals to the quantum field. This is who I am becoming. Think of it this way. The field doesn't care whether you meditate for 1 hour or 1 minute. What it cares about is coherence. Are you showing up? Are you sending out a steady frequency that can be trusted? Consistency is how your ripples become waves, and waves become currents, and currents reshape the entire ocean of your reality. Science points to this in the observer effect. When something is observed consistently, it collapses into a stable reality. The subconscious mind works the same way. Whatever you repeatedly bring attention to, not with force, but with frequency, becomes the identity your system locks in. So when you choose even the tiniest aligned habit, and you choose it again and again, you are collapsing new timelines into being. Most people give up because they can't see the ripple. They brush their teeth mindfully once and expect enlightenment. They journal for a week and expect a total transformation. And when nothing seems to change, they declare the habit doesn't work. But the truth is, the ripple was always working. It just needed time to compound, to harmonize, to echo through layers of your energy field until the outer world could reflect it back. Consider how water erodes stone. At first, it seems impossible. How could something so soft reshape something so solid? But give it time, and the stone is carved, the landscape is transformed. Your habits work in the same way. They are the water drops. The steady ripples that, given enough frequency, carve entirely new shapes into your reality. And here is the beauty. Once the ripples build momentum, they don't just affect you. They touch everything. Your calm breath regulates the nervous system of the person sitting next to you. Your steady rhythm of self-kindness ripples into how you speak to your children, how you respond to strangers, how you show up in your work. The quantum ripple effect is not linear. It is exponential. A tiny shift inside you can echo out into the field, altering relationships, opportunities, even timelines you'll never consciously see. This is why it matters less where you begin, and more that you begin at all. Choose one drop. One small habit that feels safe, sustainable, almost laughably easy. Repeat it until the ripple grows strong enough to carry you. From there, the wave will build itself. You don't need to force it. You only need to keep striking the note, sending out the vibration, trusting that the field is listening, because it is. The universe does not miss a single ripple. And your tiny, quiet habits, the ones no one else sees, may be the very frequencies shaping the life you've been waiting for. The most powerful shift you will ever make is not in what you do, but in who you believe you are. Habits are not just actions, they are silent declarations of identity. Every time you repeat a behavior, you send a whisper into your subconscious, "This is me." And the subconscious, loyal and unquestioning, begins to anchor that vibration until it becomes your baseline frequency.
This is why small habits matter. They bypass the ego's obsession with instant results and go straight into the nervous system, weaving themselves into the fabric of your self-concept. When you choose one aligned act, even if it seems trivial, you are not just performing a task. You are embodying a new frequency. That embodiment becomes the magnet that calls life into alignment with who you now are. Think of the difference between saying, "I'm trying to meditate," versus, "I am someone who meditates." The first keeps you in the loop of striving. The second roots you in identity. And identity broadcasts frequency. You don't attract what you chase. You attract what you embody. So when you become the habit, not just do the habit, you shift your signal in the quantum field. Here is where most people struggle. They think identity is something you declare once, and then you must live up to it perfectly. But in truth, identity is not a rigid role. It is a rhythm. It is sculpted through repetition. Imagine striking a tuning fork. The vibration lingers, but if you strike it again and again, the sound stabilizes, grows stronger, fills the air. That is what your habits are doing to your sense of self. Each repetition is a strike of the tuning fork, reminding your body, your brain, and your field who you truly are. But let's go deeper. Your subconscious is not logical. It is experiential. It does not listen to declarations shouted with force. It listens to the frequency of your lived actions. You can tell yourself, "I am healthy," but if your body is trapped in stress cycles, the signal is incoherent. The subconscious doesn't integrate what you say. It integrates what you embody. And embodiment is born of consistency. This is why tiny habits carry such quantum weight. They slip past the critical mind that argues, resists, or sabotages. They are small enough to feel safe, gentle, dull enough to bypass threat detection, yet powerful enough to plant new seeds of identity. Over time, those seeds become forests. Think of a single flame in a dark room. Alone, it flickers and seems fragile. But when tended, fed, and repeated, it becomes a fire that transforms the entire atmosphere. Your habits are those flames. And each time you choose one aligned act, you are saying, "This is who I am becoming. This is the fire I tend." And here's a paradox worth sitting with. The habit is not about the outcome. Drinking a glass of water every morning is not about hydration alone. It is about being someone who honors their body. Writing one sentence in your journal is not about filling pages. It is about being someone who listens inward. Taking 3 deep breaths before a meeting is not about oxygen. It is about being someone who leads from coherence. The action is the portal. The identity is the treasure on the other side. The quantum field responds to coherence, not effort. And coherence comes when your identity, habits, and energy align. Each time you repeat the habit, you create resonance between who you believe you are and how you act. That resonance radiates outward as frequency. And frequency is the true language of manifestation. Pause and ask yourself, who are you rehearsing being right now? Every choice you repeat is a rehearsal. Every pattern you return to is training your nervous system, teaching your subconscious. broadcasting to the field. Are you rehearsing stress, or are you rehearsing ease? Are you rehearsing lack, or are you rehearsing abundance? The habit itself is neutral. It is the identity it anchors that determines the frequency.
And here's a paradox worth sitting with: the habit is not about the outcome. Drinking a glass of water every morning is not about hydration alone. It is about being someone who honors their body. Writing one sentence in your journal is not about filling pages, it is about being someone who listens inward. Taking 3 deep breaths before a meeting is not about oxygen, it is about being someone who leads from coherence. The action is the portal. The identity is the treasure on the other side. The quantum field responds to coherence, not effort. And coherence comes when your identity, habits, and energy align. Each time you repeat the habit, you create resonance between who you believe you are and how you act. That resonance radiates outward as frequency. And frequency is the true language of manifestation. Pause and ask yourself, who are you rehearsing being right now? Every choice you repeat is a rehearsal. Every pattern you return to is training your nervous system, teaching your subconscious, broadcasting to the field. Are you rehearsing stress, or are you rehearsing ease? Are you rehearsing lack, or are you rehearsing abundance? The habit itself is neutral, it is the identity it anchors that determines the frequency, and here is the invitation: stop waiting for the outcome to crown you. Stop waiting until the money arrives to call yourself abundant, or until the relationship appears to feel worthy of love. Begin with the habit that embodies that truth now. Let the ripple of identity grow strong enough to attract the reflection you've been longing for, because reality is not responding to your wishes, it is responding to your frequency. And your frequency is sculpted, drop by drop, repetition by repetition, until the echo of your chosen identity becomes undeniable. So let this be your practice. Pick one habit that feels like a love letter from your future self. Repeat it not as a chore, but as a devotion. And with every repetition, let it rewrite your frequency. In time, you will realize you are no longer trying to be consistent. You have become the consistency. You are the habit. You are the identity. You are the frequency, and when that happens, the field can only respond in kind, mirroring back a reality that matches the self you have rehearsed into being. We often tell ourselves that transformation must be dramatic. A radical detox, a 30-day challenge, a leap so massive that the old self can't survive it. And yet, how often do those grand gestures collapse under their own weight? Not because we lack willpower, but because our nervous system interprets big change as danger. Your body was designed to keep you safe. Safety to the nervous system means familiarity, not necessarily joy or expansion. This is why you can stay stuck in stress patterns, not because you love them, but because your system knows how to survive them. Big, sweeping shifts threaten that fragile sense of safety. The subconscious whispers, "This is too much, too fast." And the body responds with resistance, sabotage, or exhaustion. Small, however, feels safe. A single breath does not overwhelm your survival codes. Drinking one glass of water does not trigger alarm bells. Writing one sentence does not exhaust your reserves. Small slips beneath the radar of resistance. It whispers to your nervous system, "See? You're safe here. You can handle this." This is not laziness, it is wisdom. Your biology is showing you the doorway to transformation, not through force, but through frequency. Each small habit is a signal of safety. With every repetition, you are telling your body, it's okay to expand. It's safe to change. Over time, the nervous system learns to trust the new rhythm, and what once felt foreign becomes familiar. Think of training a wild animal. If you rush in, demand obedience, and overwhelm it with commands, it resists or attacks. But if you approach gently, consistently, offering small signals of trust, the animal relaxes. Eventually, it allows you near. Your subconscious is no different. Big changes spook it. Small ones invite it into relationship. This is why people fail with dramatic diets, extreme workout regimens, or rigid morning routines. It's not because they are weak. It's because their nervous system rejected the pace. Consistency thrives when the habit feels safe enough to repeat without pressure. Safety builds sustainability, and here's the paradox: small habits may feel too insignificant to matter, yet they are the only ones powerful enough to last. Because once they are anchored in safety, they can grow roots deep into your identity. And once identity shifts, everything else expands naturally. Imagine planting a seed. You don't demand that it grow into a tree overnight. You water it gently, consistently, trusting the process. The small acts of care, sunlight, soil, water, accumulate until the roots are strong enough to hold a trunk, branches, and fruit. Your life responds in the same way. Small acts, done safely and consistently, allow you to grow into versions of yourself you once thought impossible. So release the myth that big equals better. Big often equals burnout. Small equals safety, and safety equals sustainability. The universe is not grading you on intensity, it is listening to your frequency. And the frequency of safety is what allows coherence to settle in your body, your mind, and your field. This is why the quantum ripple effect is built not on heroic leaps, but on tiny, almost laughably simple choices. Because only what feels safe can become sustainable. And only what is sustainable can ripple into the currents that transform your reality. So, the next time you feel the urge to overhaul your entire life in one weekend, pause. Instead, ask yourself, what is one action that feels so small, so safe, that my nervous system will welcome it? Begin there. Repeat it. Let the ripple grow. In the end, the smallest steps are the ones that carry you the farthest. Every action you repeat, no matter how small, leaves an imprint. Think of your brain like a vast forest. Each time you take an action or think a thought, you walk a path through the trees. The first time, the path is faint, just a few leaves pushed aside. But if you walk it again, and again, and again, the trail becomes clearer. The grass flattens, the soil hardens, and eventually, that trail becomes the easiest, most natural way forward. This is how neural pathways work. Repetition literally reshapes your brain. The networks of neurons that fire together begin to wire together, creating patterns of behavior and identity. At first, brushing your teeth, driving a car, or typing on a keyboard felt foreign. But repetition carved grooves into your nervous system until those once conscious acts became automatic. The same is true for your habits of thought and energy. If you have practiced self-doubt every day for 10 years, your brain has built a highway for it. If you've rehearsed anxiety about money or relationships, your neurons have strengthened those patterns until they run on autopilot. And yet, here is the liberating truth: your brain is not fixed. Neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to rewire, means you can always build new trails. Every small, repeated action is a choice to step onto a different path. At first, it feels awkward because the old trail is so well trodden. But with each repetition, the new path becomes smoother, more natural, more automatic. Consistency is not about force, it's about remembering that you are literally teaching your brain who you want to be. Science shows us that repetition strengthens not just behavior but identity. When you choose to meditate for 5 minutes, not once but daily, you are no longer just someone trying to meditate. You are a meditator. When you choose to walk around the block every morning, you are no longer dabbling in fitness. You are becoming a person who moves. Habits transform when they shift from something you do into who you are. This is why consistency is more powerful than intensity. One intense workout does little to rewire your brain. But a gentle, daily commitment signals to your nervous system and subconscious: this is safe. This is who I am now. Over time, neurons repattern, and what once required effort begins to flow effortlessly. Consider the way musicians practice. A pianist doesn't learn a concerto in one explosive day of playing. They repeat scales, drills, fragments, over and over, until the movements are etched into muscle memory. Their fingers eventually move as if the music is alive inside them. You don't hear the thousands of quiet repetitions, but they are what create the miracle of performance. Your habits are the same. You may think the glass of water, the deep breath, the single page written is too small to matter. But your brain is recording it. Your nervous system is softening into it. And each repetition sends the signal, this is who we are becoming, and here's where quantum science meets neuroscience. Every repeated act is not only reshaping neurons but broadcasting into the field. The field does not respond to what you do once. It responds to the frequency you hold consistently. A single spark does not sustain a fire. But steady kindling builds into a flame. This is why you often feel frustration when you try to manifest something and it doesn't appear instantly. Your field is still holding the old frequency because the repetition of old thought patterns outweighs the new. But if you continue to imprint small, consistent signals, thoughts of safety, actions of alignment, words of truth, the old frequency fades, and the new one becomes dominant. Imagine your life like tuning a radio. If you flick the dial once toward a new station, the static doesn't disappear. But if you keep adjusting, keep turning gently in the same direction, eventually the static clears, and the new music comes through. That's what your habits are doing, tuning the frequency until reality itself begins to harmonize. So, when you feel the urge to dismiss the small as insignificant, remember this: repetition is the alchemy. Each repeated choice is a stroke carving a new groove in your brain, a ripple moving through your field, a step into the identity you're becoming. You are not failing when change feels slow. You are rewiring neural highways, teaching your nervous system safety, and tuning your frequency to the station where your desired reality already exists. And every small act is one more step into coherence. Consistency is not glamorous. It is quiet, steady, almost invisible. But it is also quantum. Because every repetition you commit to is not just practice for tomorrow, it is collapsing waveforms, altering identity, and teaching reality what signal to mirror back to you. Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when the world is quiet, and your inner life is unfiltered? These questions are not philosophical exercises, they are the core of manifestation. Because the universe does not respond to your wishes, your plans, or your lists. It responds to your frequency, the vibration of your identity, the energy that pulses quietly through your body, through your thoughts, through your habits. Identity is not a label. It is a field. It is the resonance your nervous system emits when it feels safe, aligned, and coherent. And when you choose to embody a habit consistently, no matter how small, you are shaping that field. Each repeated action is a signal. This is who I am becoming. And the quantum field, impartial, faithful, silent, mirrors back the frequency you hold.